I've been playing a ton of V-Rising recently, and it is absolutely incredible. In this video, I'm going to go over 12 tips that will hopefully enhance your gameplay experience as you play through the game. Tip number 1, you can pin recipes. This might seem obvious to some, but it's something I missed early on and can definitely help make your life easier when you're trying to craft items in your castle. Simply go to the crafting station, select the item you want to craft, and press spacebar in order to pin the recipe. You can now see all the items you need, so you can go grab them from the appropriate chest and head back to the station to craft them. This can save a ton of time and headache whenever you're trying to craft certain items. Tip number 2, you can easily cancel your spells while in combat by pressing the X key. This is incredibly useful and can save your life from the long animation of some of the abilities in the game, and doing this will not put your ability on full cooldown and will allow you to move around quickly after the cancel. This can be a lifesaver in both PvP and PvE. Tip number 3, when you're looking for an NPC to suck blood from, you're obviously going to benefit much more from a higher blood quality enemy. However, when you're fighting multiple enemies, it can sometimes be difficult to tell which one you should save in order to suck their blood. You can easily identify these enemies by looking for the red glowing aura around them. These are going to be your very high quality blood enemies. These are the prime targets for either sucking their blood or dominating them for use at your castle. You can either imprison them for blood tapping or use them as a servant for hunts. The higher blood quality a servant has, the higher their expertise will be, which makes them much stronger. Also worth pointing out here is the use of Dusk callers when dominating NPCs. You'll need to take out Leandra, the Shadow Priestess, to craft them, but these are excellent to have on hand to quickly transport NPCs back to your base without having to go back yourself. You will also be able to get the ability to see the blood quality of NPCs by using a certain vampire power later on in the game by killing a V-boss. Tip number 4, do not sleep on taking out the caravans. Whenever you see one of these, you really need to stop whatever you're doing and go take out the enemies guarding it so you can loot it. These caravans are going to give some of the best loot in the game and can definitely help your progression tremendously. Highly recommend that you take them out every single time you see them. Tip number 5, after you unlock the ability to craft a fishing pole, make sure you always have one with you. You can unlock this ability fairly early on by killing the fisherman V-boss, and carrying a fishing pole and gathering fish as you progress is going to serve you well as you begin to collect prisoners later in the game. You can feed them fish to keep them satisfied, and this is going to be very beneficial to have a stockpile of fish saved up. Tip number 6, you're unfortunately not going to be able to do this one until later in the game because you'll need to defeat a V-boss named Baron de Bouchon. I'm sure I butchered that. He's a level 70 V-boss, and killing him is going to unlock a recipe called the Blood Merlot recipe. You're also going to need to be in Silverlight Hill Zone in order to gather the grapes that you need for this tip. The tip is to always make sure you have grapes on hand when you're tapping blood from a prisoner, because whenever you craft this Blood Merlot potion over the regular blood potion, it's highly beneficial because the Blood Merlot potion reduces the amount of health drained from the prisoner and reduces the amount of misery inflicted on them as well. So always have those grapes on hand whenever you have prisoners and you're tapping their blood. Tip number 7, this is more of an early game tip, so make sure you're checking the stats of your horse. A fast horse is going to be a huge asset once you're able to dominate your horse, and you're going to get the ability later on in the game to dominate horses by completing the quests. Dominating your mount is going to allow you to summon it from anywhere in the game, and it's going to eliminate the need to feed it. As you look for a really good mount, you really want to shoot for 11 speed, 7 acceleration, and 14 rotation, or close to those, and you'll be good to go. Tip number 8, if you're thinking about relocating your castle with the new castle relocation feature, be aware that doing so takes a pretty decent amount of time. It is not an instant process. You will also have to place down most of your structures during the process in order to complete the relocation. Basically, what happens is all of your walls, your floors, your chests, etc. are placed into a luggage on the ground, and you'll need to pick them up and then place them down again onto your new plot. Tip number 9, this may be another obvious one, but it's one that I sleep on sometimes because I simply forget. Do not sleep on your consumables. Before going out to fight a boss, make sure you're aware of the area you're heading into. There's some areas that require the use of a holy radiation potion or other types of potions, and if you don't have one of these on hand, you're going to have a very rough time beating the boss in that area or just fighting enemies in that area, period. There's also silver resistance potions, sun resistance, garlic resistance potions that are all highly beneficial to have on you. You'll also eventually gain the ability to craft potions that give you buffs and other benefits. These are all very strong and useful when taking out V bosses. These are easy to forget like I do. Don't sleep on them. Always carry your consumables. Tip number 10, if you do not have any potions, especially mid-game, whenever you're harvesting things like cotton, you're going to be getting hit with that hard cotton debuff. You can utilize your bear form and you'll be able to get rid of that debuff stack much, much faster. Bear form will increase all of your resistances by 25 and you'll regenerate health slightly quicker while in this form. It's not great for combat at all, but it is really good for regeneration purposes. You can unlock bear form fairly early on by killing the level 35 V boss, the Ferocious Bear. Tip number 11, when you're in the Cursed Forest for the very first time, your map is going to be under a fog. You're not going to be able to navigate anywhere. However, you can get a short glimpse of the map by interacting with the wisps you see on the ground. This will greatly help you whenever you visit the forest for the first time until you get the cape or the cloak. There is a level 63 V boss in the forest named Ben the Old Wanderer. Killing Ben is going to give you the Shroud of the Forest Cloak recipe. Then once you unlock the ability to craft it, you can simply craft it from your inventory. You do not have to go back to your base. You can craft this right from your inventory. So once you have the required materials and can craft it, you can equip it right away and then navigate the area freely just like any other area in the game. So make sure you always have this cape with you whenever you visit the Cursed Forest area, or you're going to have a hard time navigating that area. And last but not least, tip number 12. There are new events that are available in the ruins of Mortium called Rift Incursions. You can begin these events as low as level 57. I slept on these early because I thought you needed to be much higher in order to enter the ruins of Mortium. Don't make that same mistake because completing these events early on is very beneficial to your progress. When you complete a rift, you're going to be rewarded with a new currency called Stygian Shards. You can utilize these shards at the Southern Vampire Merchant to buy level 20 ancestral weapons. This is important because you can now upgrade those weapons to level 23 and then again to level 26 by using the Ancestral Forge. So they do not become obsolete after you purchase them the first time. They stay with you for a good while as you continue to progress. You can also visit the merchants in the north of the zone to purchase level 30 ancestral weapons as well. However, these cost greater Stygian shards instead of the normal version of the shards, which are a little bit harder to get. The Rift Incursion events have basically a tier 1 version, which is the lower level version, and then they have a tier 2 version, which is the level 80 version, and both of those are going to reward you with the Stygian shards. In order to see these events on your map, you're going to first need to build what's called an Eye of Mortium in your castle. You'll eventually get to the quest to do this as you progress through the main quest of the game. So just keep pushing the quest and you'll get to a point to craft this. Then you'll be able to see these events. And whenever you see them, make sure you go and do them. But that's going to do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope some of these tips helped you. And if they did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, I stream every Wednesday through Friday over at twitch.tv/BDLG. Right now, I'm playing a ton of V-Rising. I'm absolutely loving the 1.0 release. It's been an absolute blast. And if you wish to join us on our server, make sure to join the Discord. I will post the information to that Discord down below. Also, don't forget to check out StudioLoot.com. We're very hard at work over there, making sure all the guys get updated for 1.0, and that will be happening very, very soon. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.